Part 3 of The Easy Way Out. All other parts down below. What do you guys think about me reclaiming my bed? For nearly 2 years, I've slept at my desk, or on the living room sofa. This started because of my snoring. I'm hoping to get one of those advertised mouthpieces soon, that supposedly stop the snoring. Plus, I've lost over 15 pounds since the beginning of the year. It may piss her off, as she may see this as an aggressive move. Plus, I still might snore, but it is my bed. I brought it into the marriage, and sure will take it with me when I leave, so I'm thinking enough is enough. And if she doesn't like it, she can sleep on the sofa. Or, do you think this is pushing it? I actually did talk to the counselor yesterday. We agreed to leave the session on the books. She said she also counsels couples in divorce preparation. We'd gauge which direction the counseling needs to go when we get there. This is assuming that happens. Wife even wants to go at that point. W is still very pissed at me for bugging her car. VAR. Spoke to my mom last night, who told me she would be pissed at my dad if he had done such a thing. I guess there might be such a fine line between being manned up and not needing to investigate. Most needing to know. As for 180, I'm trying very hard at home with the two of us. Don't even know how to speak to her. We are having our company Christmas party this weekend. I had invited W a month ago to it. I haven't talked about it in a couple weeks and trying to decide if I still go. W hasn't said a word about it, so I'm assuming she either forgot or doesn't want to go. I thought I might go alone but didn't think I should just saddle her with the kids. Don't really want to go with her, where we stand today. So complicated. I told my W last night that I had told my friend pretty much everything, including my own embarrassing aspects. He is a good friend and supports me, but I don't really think he is judging either of us. Anyway, I left her to decide on her own if she wanted to go to the party. This morning she decided she would. Unfortunately, we waited too last minute and couldn't find a sitter for the kids, so we can't go. I'm not sure what to think, though. She was a lot more friendly this morning. I'm in my 180 mode, but frankly, that isn't much different than it's been for the past 2 years, when she was cold to me. So I don't think that is the reason. I'll see what happens through the rest of the weekend. She isn't loving, but is more friendly. The day after our divorce talk, Wednesday night, I found the letter my wife left me in 2019, when she laid out her concerns about my activities in 2017. Watching videos, issues with kids, etc. I made one last attempt to reach out to her by commenting in the letter, and emailed it to her, with the following. I found this letter from you, I believe circa 2019. Last night. I made some comments on it. I realized there was a subsequent letter, after you found out about the club name, and my spending it, bar name. I had thought we got past that, but obviously not. I would like to point out that this activity was during 2017. By the time you discovered strip club name, it had been 2 years where I had never gone back. No excuse, I know, but I have no way to prove to you how stupid I felt about going there. And once you found it, again, 2 years later, how ashamed I was. As for the spending it, bar name, I was being stupid. I felt I had to reward my employee's name for all the hours I made him work. So, when we did go out, I typically picked up the tab. I never really realized how much money I was spending, until I did the taxes at the end of 2017. Once I did, I cut way back. I can never fully explain to you why I went a bit wild in 2017. I believed it to be because I had spent the prior 4 years grappling with prior employment and our business, working so much. When I got to current job name, I got a bit selfish. I was working hard, but then I wasn't coming home after. This will go down as my biggest regret. I never really understood what I was doing to you. I was too focused on what I was going through. That being said, I had a conversation with my employee, friend name, this morning on his recollection of those days. He too remembers we did do excess, but not all the time. He talked to his wife, who recalls questioning all the time, but then he showed her his timesheets, and she realized. I know I can't prove that the money being spent was not spent on other women. How could I? I could have. My employee, friend name, vouched for me, but you wouldn't believe. You told me last night that I would believe what I want to believe. Isn't that what you are doing here? I was wrong in 2017. I shamed myself into correction, as your letter does attest to. When you caught it, it shamed me more. But it was never anything near what I believe you were imagining. I so wish we had done counseling then, so we could have learned at that time how to communicate with each other. It pains me to think a marriage could be lost over mistakes. Yes, I know I made mistakes, but not ones that couldn't have been easily overcome. If we could only have addressed them better then. This was my one last overture to her, because it pains me greatly that we may let a marriage go away due to relatively minor mistakes. Sure, we had problems before 2017, but maybe if we had gone to counseling then and learned to communicate, we would have adapted. I know the letter isn't exactly 180 and may, indeed, make me look weak, but it also occurred to me that this letter, and the one after, when she found all the spending, including the strip club, were really the only 2 communication attempts she made to me. Maybe we should have been writing to each other all along. To try and address things. It is certainly the method she chose at that time. Anyway, I have no idea if this made any impact at all. I went completely 180 thereafter. She is slightly friendlier now but has not responded to the email. So no way to know what is going on in her head. Not that I ever could. Anyway, that's the latest of everything. I've scheduled a first consultation with a lawyer next week. She's friendlier to me, but I have no idea what that means. She has not been going out of her way to nullify my concerns. I get that she is mad at me for my spying, but we still have no closure on the car conversation. So, on Friday, wife had to work, but I had off. She had some weird noises coming from her car, so I told her I'd take it to the shop. Turns out it is some kind of integrated hub, bearings. Can't replace the bearings without the whole hub assembly. Both front hubs need replacing, but I settled on doing the front right, worse of the 2. The total for just one was $378, which, right before Christmas, and in our financial situation, very many sucks. Because of this, I had my wife return the football jersey the kids got me for Christmas. About a $100. We'll get a cheap one to replace it. Kids will never know. So, I start doing bills today, and it occurs to me, my wife never said a thing about her year-end bonus. She normally gets around $400. Hasn't said a thing, and definitely didn't deposit it. So, I have to return my Christmas present, pay for her car. And she gets to keep her bonus. Mind you, I don't know for sure she got one, but they always do. And right before Christmas, I'll know for sure when I do tax this year and see that she has extra salary, bonus, on her tax. Should I mention something to her, or just add it to the list of things to discuss with the lawyer? My bonus, in March, will be substantially more than hers. Does that mean I get to keep all of mine? I have my lawyer consultation tomorrow. At this point, I'm thinking, she doesn't want to share her bonus. Damned if I'm sharing mine. I was working up a budget where we could split costs and equally divide whatever is left over from my bonus, after catching up on bills, taxes, to carry us through the year. If we separated. Now, I'll talk to the lawyer. If we separate before I get my bonus, can I just catch up on the bills? Whatever is left over will carry me through the rest of the year. I've done such a horrible job of keeping my findings to myself. I don't want to blow this. If she is withholding money from the family, and that gives me legal standing, I don't want to lose that. On the other hand, we really could use the money. The amazing thing is, with the promotion I got last year, and the bonus in March, we are on the verge of relatively easy street. Still doing the 180, for all it is worth. As I've said before, though, I don't really see how the 180 is much different from how we've been treating each other for the past 2 years. We pretty much only talk about kid-related stuff. No discussions about the future or relationship. No more talk about the other phone. She's back to not even saying goodnight to me when she goes to bed. But, starting 3 nights ago, I started going to our bed to sleep again. She hasn't objected, but it's not like we are cuddling or anything. So close to her. But so far, right now, I'm planning to consult with the lawyer tomorrow and see if she even cares to go to the rescheduled MC on January 7th. If she doesn't want to go, it all becomes crystal clear. As for the jersey, she actually took it back, and then, get this, bought herself some new shoes. So, once again, I have no present at all for Christmas. Nothing new. I've not gotten anything from her for years. For birthday, Christmas, anniversary. Last October, right before I found out about the emails to the other man, I got her a full-hour massage and pedicure at our health club. She never thanked me, came home. Not a word. I, of course, didn't get a thing. That was actually one of the things we were arguing about at the winery. She claims she thanked me, but I must not have heard. I'm thinking, next day is when I found out about the emails. Well, had my consult with the lawyer today. I don't know how we will afford this. It just sucks. This was our breakout year, financially. Now it is on the brink of falling completely apart. Just got done telling W about my appointment, and that we need to start making some decisions. She seemed a bit surprised, but then seemed to just take it in. I asked her if she was still okay with 50-50 custody. She was like, I don't know, I guess. I don't even know what's going on. Do I need to see a lawyer? I told her my lawyer would answer her questions, but he is looking out for my interests. When the final paperwork needs to be signed, she should probably see a lawyer. But that would come out of her budget. Don't know how she could afford a retainer. My lawyer comes through one of my work benefits. I told her I don't think we need lawyers to at least agree on the sharing of custody. She said, I guess not. I asked her if she would sign something affirming 50-50 splits. She said, at some point, I guess. Told her I assumed she wasn't interested in seeing the counselor anymore. She said, well, not now. I told her the counselor informed me she could still counsel us on communication. as we clearly need to still communicate due to the kids. I also told her, based on lawyer advice, since the mortgage is entirely in my name, I would be moving to retain the house. No way I would be letting her use of the home, while I am the only one responsible for the mortgage. Right now, she seems very calm, no concerns. She's nodding and affirming everything I'm saying, but doesn't appear upset at all. She could be realigning inside, for all I know, or doing mental cartwheels. This is what has dogged us our entire relationship. You just never know what she is thinking. Lastly, I told her she could stop this by reaffirming to the marriage. But I was done living a loveless marriage. I would be moving forward. My spirits are crushed, right now. Nerves are shot. I don't know what I thought would happen, but I guess I didn't expect her to just jump in line on this. So very sad, right now. I'm thinking about writing this to her. There are a couple things that are important you understand. A, I don't want this, but it is certainly prudent of me to consult a divorce lawyer at this time, to get a feel for what that course of action would entail. B, I love you. I always have, with all my heart. I've never been unfaithful to you, either in mind or body. However, you have acknowledged that the love and intimacy are gone, for you, and I think we can both agree that the trust has left as well. Your actions have not shown me much reason for hope. Is this the right environment in which we should raise our children? Are we modeling an unhealthy marriage that they will perceive as normal, and one day emulate themselves? I love my children, with all my heart, and I know you do as well. I long for the days when they rushed us for the group hug, upon seeing us hugging. That all ended last year. Why did you choose to build your resentments, instead of discussing with me? I have no real answers, and you've offered so little explanation. I'm praying that you and I choose a course of action that puts us on the path to an emotionally healthier future that, once chosen, gives us the strength to put aside our personal grievances for the sake of a common investment in our children's well-being. There are two paths. One offer hope for a strong family, together, raising our children with the joy and love that only a committed couple can provide. The other offers uncertainty, but hopefully, ultimately, a compassionate guidance from two separately nurturing parents. Of course, there is a third path, where disagreements and bitterness direct our actions. I'm sure we are better than that. As I said tonight, I can no longer live in a loveless marriage. I have so much more love I could offer. I can be a better husband, man and father. Everyone has room for improvement, but I cannot do so in the face of such apathy. If separating is our destiny, so be it. I have resigned myself that this may be. There will be a time for lawyers and bargaining, but I would hope we can at least agree on a shared, joint legal and physical custody of our children. We can work on exactly how many days are spent where, how we split holidays, vacations, but can we at least agree that the goal would be for shared custody? How we raise our children will be the cornerstone of everything else we would need to deal with. Can I get this commitment from you? I would appreciate your response on this issue, if nothing else. Few days later, she has always been pretty absent emotionally. I originally thought it was cool. Nothing rattles her. I'd had prior relationships where you always had to walk on eggshells, because everything was taken personally. This one seemed like a welcome break. Everything just flowed off her back. I never really heard flack unless I did something that really bothered her. Little did I know, that was not the case. She apparently has been internalizing all the little things, making huge walls with them. I've come to realize she really is a much more vulnerable individual than I thought. What little she has told me is that she has been bothered by all the times I've been rude to her but can't present one example. So, I'm assuming the lack of bonding was because I might have been rude to her, and she was holding that against me for months. I mean, it wasn't like I was always rude to her, but instead of getting over the few times a year that I might have been, in her eyes, or discussing with me, she, instead, added more mortar to her wall. This is the closest I can fathom our breakdown. I mean, anyone that knows me, knows that I adored my wife. How bad could I have been? How great would it have been, if she just talked to me? No medication that I am aware of, just normal. It's the reason I so infrequently approached her to talk. It just seemed like wasted breath. Of course, if I'd realized how dire things really were getting, 5 years ago, I would have definitely insisted on some kind of counseling for us. Now, may just be too late, and everybody suffers for it. Well, it appears that WW is working later again tonight. I've been taking care of the kids during their winter break. I've pretty much never seen her work late, as she does kid pickup. I normally drop them off, so she has to leave by 4:30 to get them. So far, every day, since break started, she's been there late. Last night was until 7. This morning, after our talk last night, she went in over half an hour early. Here it is 5 and she still hasn't left. Who wants to bet she doesn't respond at all to my letter? That would be typical. I wish we had the money to start the process right now. Not that I can even fathom what that process would look like. But, living in the same house with her is so emotionally draining. I have so much work to catch up on, but just so struggle to focus. My weight has dropped just below 190 pounds. for the first time in 15 years. Beginning of this year I was at 210. I dropped about 5, on my own, before this all hits. Since October, I've lost about 15 pounds. Just have no appetite. Why the hell did I, wear my emotions on my sleeve, ever marry such an emotionless person? I don't want to file until we have the custody issue resolved. Purpose of my letter from Tuesday. Plus, we are stuck in our house together till end of March, when I get my bonus. That's the first time I can possibly afford for one of us to move. I think, if anything, she might think I blame her. I did, to some extent, but not enough to leave the marriage. I worked my back off to try and make that thing successful for us. I look back now, and realize, all I was doing was taking even more time away from us. I was gone most weekends, taking her candles to craft shows for her. It just took too much time away from us. A couple times we've discussed it since has only said I should have pulled the plug on her sooner, thus putting the blame on me. She's even said she thought I wanted the business as much as she did. Really, I wanted to work 50-hour weeks at my job, then lose my weekends working for her. Really, I wanted to sell my prized boat to pay for her business. Just another thing she has turned around to blame me for. The only thing I wanted was for it to be successful, so we could get our money back. Sure, I hoped it would be successful, so that one day it would make us money. But I didn't want it to begin with, and I certainly didn't want to work as much as I did. Oh, and the other thing I wanted was for her to appreciate all I was doing for her. I don't think I ever felt that from her. We had arguments about the business, because I felt she never treated it like a business, rather a hobby. We had too much money invested for that. We had a nice store, where she made the candles. We have a website for internet sales. We did fundraisers with local schools, and we did craft shows all over the Mideast area. It was just too much invested to be treated like a hobby. That being said, I never blamed her for the lost money. Granted, it wasn't your normal issue in a marriage, but it wasn't any worse than some posters, where their spouse loses money gambling or spending. I simply closed the business down and found a new job that paid better, to try and pay the bills. Of course, it was precisely that job that wound up requiring me to work so much, due to us being acquired by an international company. Months after I started working there, she, on the other hand, got to be a stay-at-home mom for the next 3 years. I know I never begrudged her for 2 of those years. The last one, though, I had to beg her to go back to work, as we had bought a new house, and only planned on her not working for 2 years, not 3. But I'm sure I never made a huge deal of that with her. Lawyer told me the bonus wouldn't count toward the child support, and still wouldn't make a difference toward alimony. She makes enough, technically, to support herself. Of course, the debt we are still carrying, and slowly paying down now, is the difference between us just getting by, right now, and actually living a very comfortable lifestyle. We have about 2 more years to pay off this debt, was almost $100,000 a year and a half ago, down to about $67,000 now. Unfortunately, because of this, my credit is shot. For another couple year, we live on a cash-only basis, so no. Without that bonus, I can't afford to pay for the house alone. Frankly, I fear that trying to keep the house myself may shoot the uncontested divorce in the head. Whoever maintains the house probably should be, and would be awarded by courts, primary custody of the kids. Although I would love that, she would never agree to it, as far as I know. I can't imagine the courts awarding the kids to my wife, after she has moved to an apartment, while I'm residing in our family home. And since the mortgage is in my name alone, lawyer definitely recommends I not let her have the house. She is on the deed, which is easy to transfer. Mortgage is not. The only way I can conceive the deed being uncontested is if she lives in the house, meaning she would have primary custody. The only way I can imagine that to happen is if I get deed transfer to me and rent the house back to her for the value of my apartment rent. Any of this makes sense, and I can't see us affording the above until I get my bonus. Half of that bonus, at least, I don't have any idea how much it will be, is going to go toward auto repairs and back taxes. Anyway, unfortunately, a good portion of that bonus was to go toward a Disney trip we were promising to the kids. Getting an apartment and trying to maintain 2 households will sink that plan. Another idea I was thinking, if I can get her to agree, is to just get an efficiency apartment for the next year, and we agree to a nesting arrangement with the kids. We need to be separated for a year before we can anyway. So, that year could be in an efficiency, where we rotate in, out, letting the kids stay there. The following year we should be better able to afford a nicer second location. Following the D. The only couple issues I have with renting her the house is I'd be stuck with maintenance. Even though I wouldn't live there, I guess it would be the same if I was renting to an outside family. Second issue, what if she up and moves out mid-lease, sticking me with both household payments? Or she could just get rid of whatever bug crawled up her back and recommit to the marriage. Sure, make life easier. She's not exactly talking to me right now. She'll say stuff about the kids and their schedules, but she is saying nothing else. This is why I was saying before that I don't know a 180 would do any good. She's been doing it to me for 2 years. Like last night, kids like to camp out on weekends. It isn't uncommon for them to set up a bed for both of them in some different part of the house. They love it. Last couple weeks, I've been camping out with them. Guess I'm trying to get as much quality time as I can with them. Who knows what the future entails? So, we decide to set up in the living room, in front of the TV and fireplace. We came home and dithered around. Then, before she went to bed, she came over to hug, kiss the girls goodnight, and left. Never said a word to me. This morning, she had to work. I have off with the girls. She comes down to get ready for work. The selfish bee comes into the kitchen and goes about her normal morning routine, lights on, making lunch, coffee, without any attempt to try and be quiet. You know, for the 3 people sleeping just feet away. When she left, she actually left that bright light on. I had to get up to turn it off for us. I believe I have some bee in me. I think I've treated her pretty well over the years. If she needs anything, I do whatever she needs. I do housework, I cook, some, I do all the baking in our house. I grew up with my mom baking things all the time. So I continue it for the kids. I've always tried to accommodate her. I made her dream of a store happen, involving me doing basically a part-time job for years. And on and on. I'm the one who takes the kids every year to pick strawberries, blueberries, apples, peaches, and more, and I make strawberry jam, applesauce, canned peaches. To last the whole year. I grow tons of veggies, beans, tomatoes, peppers, to freeze for the whole year. I take the kids frequently on day trips, because I have 3 weeks more vacation a year than she does. I do her auto repairs, oil changes, can fix most everything. I built a full wall castle bed for our oldest. When it comes to the family, except when I have to work, which I do quite a bit from home, as well, I'm there for them. It is only with respect to whatever is going on with her coldness that I've been not be, I think. I've never begged her, tried changing her mind, reminisce about old times, etc. Yesterday, she was a little late, again, from work, cause I had the kids. It was weird. The kids have a habit, on weekends, of wanting to set up camp somewhere in the house to sleep. The last month or so, I've started joining them. Thursday night, we set up camp in the living room. They wanted to do the same last night. When we came home, they asked her to join us. I was shocked that she agreed. So, we all camped out on the sofa, floor in front of the TV in the living room. She's not exactly friendly, but not being mean to me right now. But she still hasn't even mentioned the letter I left her Wednesday morning. What the hell? Is she in denial about this too? The good news is, apparently, I didn't snore last night. I guess the weight loss, down to almost 185 from 210 at the beginning of the year, is the real difference. An update what has been going on. W and IDID wind up going to the counselor on Saturday. She was resistant, for sure. This was our first session since the individual sessions. So, this time the counselor had some information to prod W into talking about her issues. The big things were, 1. Although she initially liked that I was a take charge kind of person, she feels I have completely taken over, and she feels more like an employee. 2. She feels I am rude to her sometimes. 3. Didn't appreciate when I was going out after work. 4. The video use. 5. She feels I don't take criticism well, so she never really bothered to tell me what her issues were. 6. As a consequence of her reaction to above, she began shutting down long ago. We discussed a few of her issues. For instance, I brought up when she was rude to me, just a couple days earlier. I feel it is unrealistic to feel that 2 people can go through life together and not get testy, rude to each other occasionally. But it shouldn't overshadow the thousands of other positive experiences. As to taking criticism, I admitted I probably don't take it well when I am bashed over the head with it. But I am surprised she feels she couldn't come back to me after a cooling off period and talk frankly to me. I think I am very receptive to that. As to video watching, I admitted to it. I don't think it is a problem in my life. Her admitted lack of intimacy has created a circle of my rejected feelings, leading to me being rude, leading to her additionally shutting down, and round. Videos was merely a release, and never intended to replace her intimacy, but rather make up for lack of any. We really didn't discuss this too in depth. All in all, she seemed relieved to be able to discuss some of the issues, because she admitted she didn't think I would listen. I didn't bring up anything about her talking in her car, or her attempted EA at this point. I think it is best to get her to start opening up to me. We need a lot more work on communication. I'm not taking for granted that this session was even a step in any direction. The counselor asked her outright what she wanted, and she kept saying I don't know. She still doesn't know if she wants the marriage. But, on the other hand, we seem to be getting along better. No romance, mind you. She isn't talking like the end is near. But, I still have my questions. What is going on at work? Counselor doesn't think we can tackle deep conversations alone. yet, so I'm playing a wait-and-see attitude. I don't think any of her issues are all that bad. To her, yes, but nothing we couldn't tackle together, if she so chose. But I don't want to overturn the apple cart at this point. The thing is, I don't need the videos, only view it like once a week. I'd definitely be willing to cut it out. But I don't think this is a chicken and egg thing here. It was the 3 to 6 times per year for bonding that caused me to turn to it. The one time she ever mentioned the videos, she indicated she didn't have a problem with it, in theory, but worried that it would lead to bizarre stuff, and felt it was something that couples should explore together. The problem was that she was only in the mood. So infrequently, I viewed her comments as, "Hey, I'm not going to be sleeping with you, but don't dare seek another outlet." I knew my video watching was very tame, and wouldn't lead to more risque stuff. Regardless, I'm willing to cut it out. But, after that, and dealing with her other complaints, does that lead to more intimacy with her? Or just more frustration, with no outlet? I mean, I haven't had so much as a hug in 2 years. My promotion this year made me a controller for an international firm, with offices in China, UK, and the Middle East. I am frequently on conference calls with these parts of the world, in the evening. Also, I spend so much time putting out fires during the day. I need time in the evening to do substantive work. This year was incredibly difficult because it took me 4 months to find my replacement, meaning I did both jobs. Even after I found my replacement, I'm still trying to get him up to speed. So, this year, I've been unbelievably busy, but the light of day is coming. That being said, for years I tried to compromise with her. Just stay up until 10 to 11. We can both go to bed. She wouldn't understand that through 2018. She was a stay-at-home mom. So, I just couldn't understand it. Maybe something we can work on during MC. Few weeks later, well, we had our MC yesterday. This was a much better session. Actually, she was quite a bit friendlier the week after our last session, 2 weeks ago. For about a week. Last week she was more distant, again. I think this was because I've been dealing with year-end and working my butt off. Once again, coming home late. But I tried to limit that to only a total of 5 days. Out of the past 2 weeks, I did do a lot of work from home, all last weekend, for instance. But this year is much better than prior years. Anyway, we were actually talking fairly nicely. Nothing deep, but fairly friendly yesterday. By the time we got to the MC, we were actually joking around a bit. MC came in and commented how we seemed so much lighter than we had previously. MC pointed out that the first 2 sessions, W basically refused to really even talk at all. So, MC starts us off with our appreciations of each other. Then asked what we wanted to discuss. I had actually triggered pretty hard during the week. I wasn't sure I wanted to bring out any of the heavy stuff, but finally decided I needed to talk about the attempt at E. MC asked W if she was willing to talk about it. She basically responded that there really wasn't anything to talk about and started in again about how he was just a friend. And she didn't like how I addressed this. MC pressed her a bit, and she was completely minimizing it, and thought I overreacted by telling the OMW. Finally, MC asked her if she was willing to address my questions. W responded, I guess. So, I proceeded to tell her how hurt I was about her sharing our issues with another man. How she was reaching out to him, basically advertising her being available. She denied this, so I responded that I felt her minimizing what was happening was disrespectful to me. That any one of the emails were not smoking guns, but her response to me confronting her, we would never have gone through with it. And I guess I was just falling for his smooth talk, proved to me that it was much more than just friends. She proceeded to claim she never said these things. I told her, maybe not verbatim, but something along these lines. She denied again. So, I started quoting some of the exchanges, with each one. I could see it sinking into her that they were not just friends. But, she tried saying that he was friendly to lots of people, and was just a friendly person. So, I asked her, if this was so innocent, why did you feel the need to hide in the bathroom to correspond with him? MC pressed that point to her, and she acknowledged that she knew I would not approve of the conversations. MC pressed this more, asking her if she could acknowledge, then, that the emails might have, at a minimum, been pressing a boundary. And in a gray area, we actually acknowledged, at this point, that it probably was a gray area. So, I challenged her, if I were developing a conversation with one of the mothers at the dance class, and you saw these same texts from me, can you honestly say you wouldn't have been upset? She kind of deflated a bit, and finally agreed, she would have been upset. Breakthrough. I honestly feel she struggled with that, because to admit that means she had to admit she was actually the type of person that could have started an inappropriate relationship with someone. I know that acknowledgement would really shake her self-identity. I then asked about the conversations in her car. She flat out refused to admit there is another phone, that she was just talking to herself. I simply find this hard to believe, but realized, short of playing the recordings to her, an MC, which I'm not sure the MC would allow, I wasn't going to get anywhere with that, since I was never able to find definitive proof of this phone, at least for now. I'll leave it be. The whole conversation was pretty charged, but not confrontational. I was surprised. MC asked me what this acknowledgement meant to me. I told them it meant we could deal with the why of this, and that I was and crazy. Anyway, after the session, I asked W if we could ask the sitter to stay longer, and we go out for a couple drinks and talk. She agreed, so we spent the next 3 hours over some food, drinks, talking. Mostly it was just light stuff, but it was nice. When we came home, around 8 p.m., I started getting ready to watch a movie, expecting her to go to bed, normal routine. I was really surprised that she joined me on the sofa, and we wound up watching movies until we both were falling asleep, around 12:30 a.m. It has been forever since she has stayed up late with me. We really had a very nice time. Today, she's been talking to me about things, projects, she wants to do around the house. All long-term, large projects. We continue to be getting along today. It appears that us just talking about our issues might be making a big difference in our interactions. I'm not really too sure what long-term conclusions I can make here. She just went to the grocery store, and I texted her that I love her. I don't really expect a response, but feel she needs to hear that. Now and then, we have another MC session in 2 weeks. I'm hoping we can keep the conversations going and continue addressing the issues. I have hope right now, but still keeping my eyes open. My comment, will OP stay in the marriage or not? Part 4 ending will come tomorrow. Let me get sunlight before finishing this series.